that vehicle's all about. I've not been up close to it.
They've also got a really interesting digital display, which is almost bigger than an iPad, and very simple but very beautifully designed.
Oh, it's elegant. It's very elegant inside. It's definitely a step into the future when you look inside.
Well, let's go back to the past. Down the famous corkscrew come these roaring muscle cars, and just squint your eyes, maybe think of black and white, and think of the late 60s of Bob Dylan and the Beatles at their height and the Rolling Stones. There's your music track to this. California Dreaming, the Beach Boys, getting your surfboard out, waxing it down and heading to the track after you've been out in the morning.
That's a picture
That sounds
painted.
like you, Adam.
That's a picture painted for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a picture painted. It's that's California Dreaming at its very best. As they're gritting up and getting in formation between turns 10 and 11, that's a tight turn 11. Pace cars have pulled off. We are gridded up to the front here and ready to get the green flag, Jonathan.
And I'll tell you what, these guys will race. No question.
Yes, they will.
Here we go, then.
Yes, they will.
Let's just listen. Quit grinning.
The goosebumps. The goosebumps.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
Absolutely glorious.
I mean, folks, it's probably a good 78 degrees here in the booth, but I'm chill. I got chills right now having them.
Are they multiplying?
Yes. It's
well,
pretty,
don't lose control.
Well, I'll try not. Take it away, Jonathan.
Here we go, then. They've all set off on that beautiful sound of muscle cars in America at the iconic Laguna Seca Raceway.
Good, clean side-by-side racing all the way through the field. As we've busted out, we've got ourselves a for sure leader here.
Oh, yeah. Well, he got over the crest real quick and straight into the Andretti hairpin. He's now coming out of 5, and it's the 45 in the mid-pack there. The 1969 Mustang Boss 302.
Well, that's one of our Javelins that's going to be up front there. I just haven't distinguished which one it is, whether it would be the 68 or the 72.
There's the Tempest.
Yep.
Can't miss the Grey Tempest.
You can't miss the Tempest. The
God,
Grey
this
goes.
is huge. This field is amazing.
Isn't it, though? I mean, and there's racing all the way through the field.
Mike Joy at the back there, enjoying and full of joy. Mike Joy, one of our broadcast celebrities here, who's been doing historic Trans Am for a while here, and was in has done this event many, many times, both as a broadcaster and as a driver.
And we also have Jim Farley in this field as well. He's
yeah, he wouldn't miss this one, would he?
No, he certainly would not. This just shows what, again, his appreciation and love for the history of this sport and what it means to Ford Motor Company.
And it is car number 2, the AMC Javelin of Jim Haig, leading the way.
So that would be the 1972 version of that car. It's a fabulous version of it. Not a whole lot. As you can imagine, like the Mustangs and the Camaros, almost, I don't want to say a dime a dozen, but much more of those produced. The Javelins and the AMCs, not as many of those, were produced for the Trans Am, series. So I think that's what makes those, it's almost like the Tempest. You see the Grey Ghost that's out there. What kind of makes that, stand out and be so special is just don't see too many of them.
And you know what makes this series just such a winner? And I'm sure John Claggett, the president of Trans Am currently, would agree. Last week in Nashville, you talk about this historic Camaros versus Mustangs. We had a 4-way battle between the Camaro and the Mustang. And it was no different than it was back then.
No, it wasn't. No, it absolutely wasn't. That's
55 years.
That is the beauty of it. It's the Trans Am series, John Claggett, Tony Perella, everyone involved has so much to be proud of in that aspect, is that it's stuck hard to its roots, hasn't tried to reinvent the wheel, gives great competition, fun cars to drive. The competitors want to come drive those cars, and it's nothing's changed.
Oh, somebody hit the dirt there for a second.
I think it was the leader. It looks like it lost position, and it looked like, for me, they were getting ready to go a little wide. Jim was there, Jim Haig, in that AMC Javelin. It looked like he missed the turn in and caused him to be a little wide at the bottom of the hill.
So they are pushing on here at Laguna, early stages of their first race of the weekend. Remember, the first day they've been racing this weekend. And yes, he did lose a place, that's for sure. He's still in there, in the number 2. There he is.
I believe he lost it to Jim Farley. Would have been taking the lead in that Mustang.
That would be quite a footnote if Jim Farley could win for Ford here in 2021.
I think it would be a pretty special story to be able to talk about from up here in the booth,
Ford
to say the least.
Oh!
Looks
and
like
Hay getting very sideways in the two.
Very much struggling with the handling right now of that Javelin. Don't know if possibly a tire is going down. They certainly
he's pulled out of the way. Look,
you know, could have broken axle too. Axles break, and if you break an axle,
here's another look at it.
there's a look of coming down the downhill.
Yeah. Ooh, that he's lucky to just have gone that far off, because that could have, you know, you're going down, hurtling downhill at quite a pace right there.
Yeah, and the load is definitely working against you. So you're right. You're absolutely right. The fact that it didn't cost them, you know, it didn't cost them the car. They didn't lose control of the car. That was some heads-up driving for sure.
So it's James Farley in the Boss 302 in the number 15, 1969 Ford, 66 to mid-70s or 72, and he leads this race, starting to pull away as they head down the corkscrew. Field starting to spread out, American muscle cars, and really you could argue that this is where Trans Am really started to get the notoriety back in the day, and we'll have Parnelli Jones and George Fulmer, the original purveyors of these machines, here this afternoon. Isn't that special? As our Grand Marshals.
Yeah, it's so special. And the car that Jim Farley is driving is a car that was driven by Peter Gregg, the late great Peter Gregg, Peter Perfect. We spoke about him already today, and you know, I know that I would trust that Jim would, if he was sitting up here, he would support the fact that the Peter Gregg Foundation is out there offering scholarships to young folks out there interested in the STEM programs, in science, technology, engineering, and math. And so they offer up 5 scholarships a year. I highly encourage you to look up the petergreggfoundation.org if you're in those age group of 17 to 21. I sit on the board of directors there, and I think it's a fabulous foundation that's going to do very good things to make sure that we carry on these traditions like these historic reunions.
You made that point to me earlier in the weekend, which is who's going to fettle these cars? Who's going to look after these cars when the current crop of mechanics and engineers are gone? Yeah,
they're not getting any younger. None of us are. Nope. You know, the time waits for no one, and but there's a lot of love that's deep for this kind of racing, and the passion is out there in the youth. We just have to make sure that we foster it. And I think that's something that's great that the Peter Gregg Foundation is doing, is fostering that passion that's out there. And it's going to bring some talent up through here for us all to enjoy for years to come.
So the field's spreading out. Back to that Tempest, the number 49. That's a 64 Pontiac Tempest GTO. John Hildebrand at the wheel.
It is, again, anything. When you name a car the Gray Ghost, you're gonna capture my. You're gonna definitely capture my my imagination in it.
Down the hill they rush towards the ready curve, through the trees. It's a great walk. If you're here at the event, you've got to walk up the hill at least once. It's a long way, I know, but you got to do it.
So the way that it got the name the Gray Ghost, when it arrived at its first race at Lime Rock with its new silver paint, the big guns like Roger Penske kind of snickered at it. So the competitors' attitude changed when, after starting last in the rain, none other than Bob Tullius, Group 44, famous Bob Tullius, passed every one of them but the winner, Mark Donahue, which would have been in a Penske that time.
So he kind of had the last laugh.
In the heavy downpour, the track announcer nicknamed it the Gray Ghost, and the crowd cheered it on. Now, if you know anything about Trans Am and the history at Lime Rock, it is called the Memorial Day Classic. Yep. It's been run there for 55 years.
Did it there?
And we did it again there this year, and it was a rainy one this year.
It
was
was
wet and cold, and even some snow flurries. And I got to tell you, the paddock was packed. The whole place was packed. I showed up with the RV. I was a late show up because I didn't know I was going to be coming out there. I showed up with the RV. They had to create a spot for me. They had nothing left. They had absolutely nothing left. As we circulate, Jim Farley there circulates lap 5 and 9, getting chased down.
Now he's getting some pressure.
Yeah, by a Camaro Z28. He's not going to want to give that up on Ford's weekend. He's going to want to make sure that he could keep that car at bay.
Well, it's interesting. You talk about the Grey Ghost Tempest coming from the back to the front. Well, it happened the same again this year when Chris Dyson came from the back to the front.
Yes, yeah, he was his own version of the Grey Ghost, wasn't he, right then?
And we've just spoken to his father earlier today, Rob.
This is going to be a great race coming down here when you get down to it. This Camaro of Chad Raynal is really putting it through the paces and really going to put the pressure here on Jim with only a couple laps left in this early morning race here.
Well, the beauty of the modern day drones is you don't need timing. You can just see from above how they're catching. And here's an overtake on the 61, or the 61 doing the overtake. Nicely done. Just a little bit wide.
Almost got the over-under. Power down. Getting a little tail happy. Making it exciting for us.
120 miles an hour across the strip.
That's unbelievable. Such acceleration out of this era of car, too. Red and black 69 Ford Mustang 302 boss.
Loving it. He is a big historian and historic racer. And he'll be back here in November again to do more. We'll have a bit more on his plate that day, though. AMC Javelin, the number 2, Jim Haig, recovering well, having led at the start of this race now, over halfway. And I think they'll have 2 races this weekend. And if you're here at the event, go down and look at the Ford display, celebrating 55 years of Ford
Look
in
at this
racing.
race.
This is really
race.
coming down to the wire,
coming down to it.
We've got 2 great battles, one for the podium and one for the win. And that car number 19 creeping ever closer in 4th place, the 69 Chevrolet Camaro, Joshua Fieber at the wheel.
This is, I mean, the pony car wars, they're strong, they're healthy.
Yep.
Here 55 years later. What a spectacular sight.
Yeah, like I said, the manufacturers really got behind this battle. And they,
Oh, no.
that's the 61.
That is James Housley.
He's a long way into the gravel, too.
He is pitched into that gravel at the top of the corkscrew. That is going to probably pull out, I would guess, in his position is pretty precarious. I'm just going to probably pull out ourselves a full course caution.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that might.
That's not a great place that you want to be sitting.
That might have even shaken the knees of our man Tom up there.
Right, yeah.
Coming straight at him. He won't have flinched.
That is one of those that could have been, to me, that looks like a possible brake fade, brake failure.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, you jam it into a low gear and you try and spin them off at that point instead of, you know, trying to hang on for dear life and hope for the best.
To be fair, we were saying earlier when we were here in May doing the Trans Am, you were racing in it. We had a similar incident.
Very similar.
Going forward.
Yeah, very similar.
From it's easy under braking going into that.
We are under full course caution, and that is going to probably secure.
I got to say, Farley's holding on for now
for Mr. Farley. Congratulations, if that's the case.
Well, that's kind of a historic footnote. That's just karma right there.
That is, yeah, right. That was coming down to be a race, though. Unfortunately, we got robbed of a pretty good race there at the end, but
we might get another one.
We'll get another one.
The weekend's out.
Oh, this is not over. This is not over. The rivalry is strong.
Dear Dearborn, may not be in the office on Monday. Had a good weekend. Carry on the good work.
I can see the memo now.
Yeah. Where's James this morning? He's not coming to the meeting? No, he's still in Monterey.
So, yeah, we had 38 entries down in Nashville. There's 45, I believe, entries.
That's insane.
45 entries here in this class.
So Jim Farley, winner at the moment. Chad Renault tried to chase him down, but that double yellow might have put paid to that. Ken Adams looks as though he's going to take 3rd. Joshua Fieber in 4th and Jeffrey O'Neill in 5th.
The track crew here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, they're second to none, though. So if there's a chance that we could go back for a green, just a green check and 1 lap run, they'll be the ones that can make it happen. So stay tuned. We are not, by the attitude of the flag, I don't see that this is the be-all, end-all right here.
All right, well, we'll soon find out. Beautiful day here in Monterey, California. About an hour south of San Francisco, well, just over. Well, it depends who's driving. When I drive, it's about 2 hours. When Adam's driving, maybe less.
I take my time on the PCH. Yeah, well, yeah. Oh man, it takes me a while to get here from San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking.
You take the coast road?
Oh,
Yeah, that's
I'm taking in the Pacific Coast Highway, and
I've done it. Yeah, it's nice
for sure. Enjoying all this. I mean, this is some of the most beautiful coastline you'll find anywhere in the world.
And there's hotels all the way down too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll never be short of a place to stay. You got to mind the speed limits. My wife will tell you that, and. But it's definitely a great road. You got Big Sur on the way, and plenty of parks to stop by, and yeah, we've made the trip. We've driven all the way down the Pacific Coast on the PCH. We went all the way from north of Washington State all the way down through Oregon and the California Redwoods. It's one of the most beautiful states to drive through for sure.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So we're under safety here as they head towards our man Tom Kamsik, and doing a great job up there at the top of the hill, blowing around in the wind.
It's a beautiful
and
Lexus
look at the crowd
RCF.
now, starting to fill the grandstands here.
For sure.
Really good.
Beautiful Lexus RCF pacing the field out here too this weekend. Lexus a huge presence here at the
Oh
WeatherTech
no, that's going to
Raceway
take some
Laguna
time.
Seca.
That's
yeah.
precarious. They
Isn't
got
it,
him though.
Yeah, no, it's rolling him right down.
Yeah, good stuff. And that does that. Gets it back on track, and hopefully they can sort of. He can probably coast now, back down to the pits. Here comes the whole field, though, right behind, just at the worst possible moment, but never mind.
What was the truck driver's name? We got him.
Bobby.
Bobby this morning, yeah.
Go on, Bobby.
Boy, was getting it done yesterday.
He was on it.
He's made a few laps around WeatherTech Raceway Laguna.
And there's our man Garcia. We'll give him a wave. Give him a wave, Adam.
How you doing, TG?
There's
awesome
TG.
job, brother. If you're wondering if we're having fun, you don't need to wonder. We are having a great time. This is all absolutely authentic and genuine. We have a great time up here and enjoy calling these races, enjoy watching these and being a part of this whole event here this weekend. And the energy level, like you said, the crowd is moving in. The energy level is pumping up into full steam. This is good times.
I've just heard over the intercom that we might be seeing Parnelli and George Fulmer in action.
Wouldn't that be special?
Laps.
Wouldn't that be special?
Looking forward to that.
I wonder if there's a passenger seat open for those.
Oh, that would be a special one.
I'm sure Jim would get one of them. Jim Farley would get one of them. And Jim Owens would get the other.
Yeah.
They're certainly not going to keep it for Johnny and Adam.
That's a lovely shot, isn't it? Look at that.
It truly is.
When the cars slow down a bit, the drone's quite happy to go along. They look tiny. They look like my toy dinky cars from when I was a kid.
It does, yeah.
Oh wait, I still am. I forgot. Fantastic shot of that Andretti hairpin from high above with this beautiful field of historic Trans Am cars. Hope you're enjoying the sights and sounds of Laguna Seca here at the reunion. Been running since 1974 without missing a beat, except of course last year when we couldn't put it on of course because of COVID. So we're delighted to be out here, and so are some of the Californians who likewise have been locked down. It's not just Californians here too. People come from all over the country and the world. And it is somewhat poetic if you've not quite picked up on what we've been saying. James Farley is one of the top dogs at Ford, if not the top dog, and he is driving Ford to a historic victory.
Right, in more ways than one.
In more ways than
in
one.
more ways than one. You know, and this is our last group. We're finishing up here, our last group before our lunchtime break, and we've certainly enjoyed bringing you the morning action here at the Rolex Monterey Motorsports Reunion. Coming up this afternoon, we kick off right after lunch with something that none of us want to miss. Just the sights and sounds of historic Formula One cars going around this facility is enough to make your blood boil, and to help that digestive process of eating lunch. It's just a fantastic.
I don't think Formula One have been to Laguna, have they?
No, they never.
Did Long Beach.
Yeah, Long Beach, and you know, Phoenix and Las Vegas,
Dallas,
and Watkins Glen, obviously, and Dallas and Miami, and they've been all over.
Yep,
they've been all over. Home.
Well, they've never really found. Indianapolis is, but they never really found a home, and I'm really glad to say, as the voice of COTA, that I'm delighted they've now found one, and it's a spec circuit, probably one of the most modern in the world. and they love it.
It is. It's a great. Everyone loves that circuit, right? I mean, it's from the motorcycle racers to the Formula One drivers to us in Trans Am when we go there every year. It's a great place to be. Bruton Smith and that group has taken over as management of the facility, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I think you can't argue with Bruton Smith's success of running racetracks all around this country. And the checkered flag is out for this session. Checkered flag's out. They'll get to accelerate to the checkered, so that's
and Ford's James Farley wins at Laguna Seca in a Ford ahead of a host of Javelins, Camaros, and what a moment.
I'm so happy they let him cut loose and come to the checker in the manner that they did, because it would be a shame for these fire-breathing engines to not get to stretch their legs one last time this morning.
And if the golden era of Trans Am was 1970, it seems apropos that a 1970 Ford Mustang Boss 302 should take the checkered flag here at Laguna Seca in 2021. All those years, some 55, 52 years in that particular sense. Of course, Trans Am began in 1966, and it was a 1970 car winning today. Fantastic.
Peter Gregg is certainly smiling down.
Oh, yeah. Lovely stuff. That's just gone up in value again, that car.
Yeah.
We'll get him to sign it.
Wave into the crowd. Wave into the crowd. Wave into the corner work. As if driving that car around here enough just doesn't show the appreciation. To go ahead and add the extra wave out there. Showing the love. What an attitude of the car, too. Just a thing that comes at you with attitude. Just looks angry.
How about a 67 Fastback? That's kind of... I got a friend who's got one of those, and I've seen him rebuild it. My buddy, Steve Martin, he's got it in Melbourne, Australia, and he absolutely adores it. He built it from scratch.
Beautiful
Bought it from
car.
Wisconsin.
Beautiful car.
Sent it over, and then rebuilt it. Really good.
Just that sound, that... go up the hill.
So, wonderful sights and sounds. Color and noise here in the Monterey Hills. Doesn't get any better.
No, it sure doesn't, Jonathan. It sure doesn't. As they're gonna come in and put the cars to rest. We got some good stuff here for the crowd that has shown up. Some good exhibition stuff to happen over lunch. Some birthday cake with Parnelli Jones over lunch, and lunch with Trans Am legends.
And Jim Farley takes the win in the 1970 Ford Mustang. Chad Reynolds in second place. Ken Adams third. Joshua Fieber in fourth position. Jeffrey O'Neill in fifth. And William Auckland in the Shelby in sixth place. Then Patrick Byrne, Ken Epson, Forrest Strait, and John Hildebrand rounding out the top 10. So that's your top 10. As we continue, let's head down now.